Greetings, have joined us on this broadcast. As the world implodes, that's a good name for a soap opera. So yeah, biblical times returning, or maybe they always returned. August implosion and Pleiadian mothership to make things a little bit nicer. I guess it all depends on how you look at it. So what am I getting at? So yeah, so August is already 2 days in, is already making a ruckus a little bit. I guess it depends on how you look at it. Yeah, it hasn't fully gone into full gear yet. I feel like the middle of August, 2 weeks. So we have 2 weeks of hell, but then the week after that, I'm not sure what's going to happen. So I don't know. It's hard to really say. It's really it's not clear for obvious reasons, but we're shifting the vibrations as the world turns itself upside down. And so it's going to affect a lot of places, maybe not everything. Yeah, it's still not. But anyway, biblical times. Well, it's some people that I went to the channeling yesterday is about having lifetimes here during biblical timeline. Some people here are maybe remembering, maybe an alternative timeline, maybe you're Julius Caesar, maybe you're part of Genghis Khan, or we're Genghis Khan, maybe another timeline or something like that. But the Bible still plays a big role in mind control here, as you can tell by the certain religions. So actually, I connect some of the Anunnaki energies with that. So we're here to unlock a lot of it. Of course, we got time. Things are going is still up in the air. So August implosion is well on its way. I'm not sure if anything would come of that, like a channeled message on that. The Pleiadian mothership energies is just about, well, I'm not sure if this is related to that, but this is not related to that. The why the world is the way it is, why it's so kind of, I guess the New Agers look at the positive side of everything. I guess that's another reason why things have not evolved that fast, because they take a messed up world and find the good in it, and so things don't improve. They just stay the same forever. That works, I guess. So if you're here to change things, you get mocked, and I know how that feels, seen as the villain or whatever it might be. That's a fun position to be in. Put something different, and something different. Different hurts, obviously. But this world is a mess right now. It's been that way forever, but how messed up is the higher dimensions for something like this to have to be created to clear up whatever is going on in the higher dimensions? I mean, how much of them, they're all, not all, but quite a few are abusing their power, like you believe that we're not able to pick up on. So they forgot a lot of stuff. So this world's created to make up for what they've forgotten, because a lot of them are screwed up. So, the politics that's here, all the drama that's going on here, it's keeping us kind of like in a bubble. Things aren't really going anywhere. Because it shows so if this place is slow, the higher dimensions obviously are fast. And whatever they're doing in the higher dimensions, screwing things up, this place gets slower and slower. If that makes any sense to anybody. I mean, when you think about it, it makes perfect sense. So the higher dimensional beings, wherever they might be, would say it's just Anunnaki and Greys and all that, because actually you can go higher than the Greys, higher than the reptilians. You get the beings that are just absolutely psychotic. So some of us, I guess, come here too because some of us might have been those beings. So we're here to clean the mess up. Like, well, so we're the ones that why this world was created. I guess we're kind of responsible for it now. Something like that. We have to clean up our rumors, something around those lines. So it's all your normal thinking, but that's, I mean, the higher realms are, I know people talk about high vibrations, but you can do a lot of messed up stuff in the higher realms too. It does not have to be all lower dimensions. As many would like to think that. So it depends on where it is. It all depends on its laws. You can do a lot of screwed up stuff up there. So, and then this world it gets crazy. So you keep doing this, you keep messing around the higher realms, you're going to create Earth. And of course, they keep doing it anyway, and now Earth is here. It's like, and then you get sent here, or everybody gets sent here to fix their mess. And that just, it's a little bit. This might not make any sense because, of course, there are once again a lot of New Agers that will be here just love and light and just stay in stasis and don't evolve. They just want to enjoy everything, take the good out of a nightmare, and there's nothing wrong with that, but not evolve. We're here to evolve, try to at least. Men are just not wanting to. But some of us are here to make things happen, like it or not. So the world is imploding currently, sort of. It's warming up to it. So yeah, I just felt like the August is like the trigger for it. That's all I got. We're in day 2. We're not that far into it. Who knows what the hell's going to happen? Biden turn into a robot. That would be fun. I mean, it already looks like one, but maybe it goes even further. So we'll just have to wait and see. Everything is hearsay, of course. When it comes to the future, it's just the way it is. For now, at least. ZionTalk.com, your private sessions. Shop here on the 18th. Going into the 18th, same situation here, webinar. Social network, rabbit, behind the scenes, and this. So, that's it. So lifetimes and we'll just kind of wing it here. But yeah, that whole higher dimensional thing might be a little bit much for some people. Like, what the hell are you talking about? It's like they think the higher dimensions and everything is perfect and wonderful, and I don't think all of them are like that. Some are, but a lot of them are not. A lot of them, they can do a lot of damage, and then this world is created. Well, you know, they're having just too much fun up there, whatever the hell they're doing. I don't think we can handle it, what they're doing, but it's a lot. It's screwed up, whatever it is. Yeah, it gets more. Okay. We go into Anunnaki in the Bible. It technically makes sense because they're very much involved with it, obviously behind the scenes. Might be other beings that go into before the Pleiadians, but just have to wait. So Pleiadians, at least from what I can pick up on now, is about rehabilitation, but I'm not sure if they're going to bring that up or not. Yeah, smoke them if you got them. Okay, all right. Awareness, engage. Okay, blessings. Greetings. Or Anunnaki consciousness. Much of your Bible was brought in for confusion, but much of it was Anunnaki learning how to be human, along with other beings. But I feel they can improve upon society instead of a lot of times they made it worse. They're usually Anunnaki beings. Certain ones are very much into jewelry, which also shows why your queen has a crown. Something about jewelry that shows like I'm better than you. That wasn't always the case in the beginning. It was basically my jewelry affects my vibration, but over time it's like I'm better than you. Imagine many of you have run into someone like that somewhere in your time here. A lot, yes, alien beings. Well, alien beings incarnated here to improve upon the world once again, but end up doing the opposite. They couldn't handle the vibrations here. So they caused more chaos, and so the world got at a lower frequency than a higher frequency. Well, many of them came in thinking they had it all figured out. I believe you've heard that to some degree. It also came in that's now many beings came in here to actually, without really trying to wipe out a lot of their technologies. They didn't do it on purpose, but they found a way of doing it. So alien beings that incarnated here actually made your world more primitive in its early stages. Not in all places, but there are some, like Sudan, who went back to was actually quite advanced, and then it was not advanced anymore. We can't go into details of that. Of course, as much now there are ancient scrolls actually that are more like tablets, but we'll call them ancient scrolls that are still under the oceans that are hidden. Due to cataclysms where there is more knowledge of the Anunnaki that's been lost, of course, with all with other beings, there's still a lot of just details within society that's been lost for various reasons. Of course, they're not going to document every single thing that happened in your time. But the energies of the Bible, of course, was just to manifest kind of the same society over and over again because they put the belief systems into it. It's kind of like to keep society from evolving. Now, it does still evolves, but maybe not as fast as it could. Of course, there's many laws within your religion to keep a lot of this knowledge here. Wonder who's doing that. Yeah, to keep your world in dissension. But dissension also has a lot of positives around it. So when souls are relearning over and over again, well, some just need to do that. It's not always intended to do that, but some souls just do it because either they enjoy it or they can't seem to get out of the cycle of not learning. So you are going into a multi-dimensional reality. Well, yeah, so connect to other aspects of yourself and other timelines of the Earth's energy that did help the Earth. It's not always going to make itself completely clear because, once again, it's not part of your daily conversation. Multi-dimensional incarnations, how many versions of you are on other versions of Earth? It's not something that you bring up as still having trouble believing in what you're already connected to as it is. Well, realize when you're doing this, you also connect to the alien beings that are here, as you're willing to tap into other realms of yourself. Of course, it's not going to happen or at all for some, but there is a possibility of having an alien interaction. Most likely, well, because they're curious. So if you feel a presence of a being, most likely they're not going to show in the physical because they're not intended to. At least for right now. Your August is an interesting, yes, it's actually quite connected to the Mayans, and basically you transition more into yourselves. So humans are not necessarily colliding into yourselves, but you're finding yourselves. You're fine-tuning yourselves at the same time. So yes, expect many changes coming soon. Of course, there's always going to be changes. Your ocean levels are going to change also. That's all we're going to say on that one. We do see a lot of energies within your Mexico, like what's underground. Possibly some relics being brought publicly, possibly not likely. But there's a lot of underground work in Mexico at this time that's being shifting into the vibrations, which also does affect California quite a bit. Now, take this however you want, but technically your Mexico runs your California. At least the elite of your Mexico, it's not making themselves known. Notice how, Mexico is an easy entrance into California. To be surprised, there's actually quite a strong influence. And there's a lot of immigrants there for obvious reasons. To shift the vibrations, of course. But there's much more to it than that. So yeah, that's what this would be about. But yes, some of you are going to remember your other lifetimes here, your biblical incarnations. Some of you will start to tap in. The name Sarah is very popular Now, if you've been a Sarah in this lifetime, there's a possibility you're a Sarah in the biblical times, and possibly even into the Bible's version of Sarah. I believe there's a couple of versions of Sarah, but either way. Yes, you're opening up your earth. Well, you're discovering more of your. Yes, people are doing shadow work now, but you're going to go deeper into those energy fields. But it depends on what you're willing to handle. It's like a picnic. You're going to put all these things in there? Can you carry it? Can you handle what you're going to discover about yourself? There are vortexes that are opening up for knowledge of yourself if you wish to know. The vortexes know you more and your better self. They're not going to open it unless you're not ready for it. So if it connects to the past and feel a blockage, now obviously connect to blockages. There's a wall there. It's not always necessary to tap into. But some of you might feel, wow, it was really open and now I'm shut down. Probably, but you're still going through anxiety of what you've learned. It can take 2 or 3 years to handle just a little bit of the knowledge of your past. 2 or 3 years. And some people want a fast ascension. How does that work exactly? Yes, even your talk of higher dimensional connections, that right there for a world like this is like it's too much to even fathom. Just the thought of it, just the single thought, then you imagine it makes it even worse for those that are just not ready for it. Yes, they're getting up and working and trying to try to do a good job in the physical reality. And now you're talking about a higher dimensional reality. In some ways, it's more complicated. Of course, it is. And also to achieve it is more complicated. How to achieve that higher dimensions is simple. Just know yourself. Just be comfortable with yourself. Not everyone's doing that. They say they are, but is that true? They say, yes, I have self-love, and that might be true, but how much do you have? Greetings. We are the Pleiadians. Send you energies from our mothership. Send you energies of, yes, rehabilitation, remembering yourselves at a higher frequency, where, yes, you're not, well, there's always going to be some kind of drama of some sort. Somebody has to make things a little bit more complicated. But you have an understanding of where all that's coming from. You just have an understanding of everything. You see your children before they are born. You understand what type of relationships you can connect to. Of course, in this world, those that are incarnating here at this point that have a joy for this reality are willing to heal themselves, but also they're using their healing abilities. They don't want to remember their higher dimensional selves. Be surprised. They might tap into a little bit, but they just want to enjoy the nature of this reality. They're not quite ready to connect to the higher realms. They might talk about it, they might play the act of it, but are they truly connecting to it? Not to say that's a bad thing, but it is. It's just, you're working with the physical realm. It's like working. You can say technically it's kind of working with a patient. That's one way of looking at it. Some might have difficulty accepting that point of view, but it's like this is kind of a patient. Doesn't mean that the doctor has all the knowledge, but you feel like you can contribute to its healing, its development, and its own awakening. But also, many that are actually healers absorb into the land themselves. Like they become more part of Mother Earth. You'd be surprised how many souls don't really want to connect to the higher realms. Actually, want to absorb, yes, into the earth. Yes, maybe they don't want to know everything about themselves as much as they thought. It's easier here in some regard. The higher realms can be quite tricky. This world is quite simple. Complicated, yes, low frequencies, but once again, simple. It's like, I can make this work. So many do not evolve into the higher realms. Some of you, that's all you wanted is the higher realms. You want to open up this earth and open up the pyramids and just shift the vibrations, shifts the energies of the oceans, turn the oceans into like purple oceans, pink oceans, just change the sky energies also. Just really do a redo of the earth altogether. And it would be fun. But some are not quite ready for that. They're just, you'd be surprised how many are incarnated here as fairy beings that are actually quite lost. Some of them have abused their powers and they're here wandering around. Some of them, yes, you can say, got high too much. They got drunk on their own power. Doesn't mean that they're technically mischief beings, but they weren't always making the best decisions. And that's a whole, that happens quite a bit. Of course, we're being kind of vague on that, but many of the fairy beings, very connected to nature, and need to be around nature all the time, are, yes, have a dark side here, at least in their human forms. Nothing wrong with the dark side, but some of them are quite vicious, meaning they can't let go of nature. They feel like, well, it's almost a yes, as they're hiding from themselves to a certain degree. Somewhere. Well, they're hiding from, yes, so they've had, some have had pretty, a lot of bad decisions. And they're not ready to hear about it. So they find ways of blocking it off. I'm finding spirituality, I'm connecting with nature, and that's all I need. Realize this isn't everybody. There are certain individuals like that. So why are you obsessed with nature and not connecting to yourself? Well, maybe because you don't want to know what's fully, deeply inside of you. So this is the realms you're connecting to. This is the world you're opening up. So this is part of your ascension, is this knowledge coming through eventually. In the Agartha realms aren't really afraid to show their problems. They're more than happy to show they have difficulties there. It just, can you handle their difficulties as a whole nother story? Can you handle the drama that they pull? I mean, you already have problems here, but now you're connecting to magic beings and sorcerers and things like that. It can be a little bit overwhelming when you're used to a place like this. Yes, your Admiral Byrd, yes, you saw a portion of Agartha. You didn't see all of it. I believe, yes, he did see giants to a certain extent and saw some of the mysteries, but it wasn't there to see it all. But he was welcome there as part of the soft disclosures coming in. Now, Agartha beings can show up here physically anytime they wish. They just choose not to. They're not necessarily watching everything constantly, but they are scanning the vibrations. They have their own lives, but if they feel like they're necessary for here, they connect to it. But it doesn't mean they're always going to show themselves. And, yeah, some of them, they're free thinking, free willing. They can pretty much do whatever they want. A lot of them are curious on certain levels, of course. But our mothership, the Pleiadian motherships, basically, yes, for rehabilitation, basically for the skin cells, the chakras, but mostly the skin, basically for someone to look younger. But that doesn't mean the soul is fully developed. So this is why your world is so important, where the souls are, yes, maturing faster or trying to. This is why I have the turmoil here, is for this. It's for the soul to, you can say technically for the soul to slow down. Because it can be very impatient and erratic, so it comes here just to take it easy. Kind of like fishing. Yes, because the higher dimensions are so fast, but they make so many mistakes so quickly. This world is necessary. And there are other slow planets also, but not as slow as this one. So. Greetings. I am Mother Earth. Blessings to you. Your future is connected to the water. I thought you would be swimming in the water or it would become overwhelming for you, but the water, this is the year of the water. It is basically consciousness shifting the vibrations of what is old, clearing out the old for the new to come in. Yes, I'm not going to go into full details. The Mother Earth vibration, some of you might look in the sky if I could just see the face of Mother Earth. You also look at trees and see the face of Mother Earth too, but you have to have a sharp eye for that. Also, the Christ consciousness is being healed here. Christ consciousness came from another planet. But it was very helpful for the soul development of many, but for some it was slowed things down once again. Well, the Christ consciousness is to heal the physical, but maybe not fully. To allow the chakras to actually realign with just a word. Like you say one word to a friend of yours, the chakras can realign within that person. Especially you say a word to a person and all their chakras get unaligned because you're saying something that rattles their chain. That happens quite a bit. But that's why your media is the way it is. It's there to manipulate the chakras. It's to close your minds. It's not to inform you. It's to shut everything down. And you're here to open everything back up. Slowly. And yes, there's a lot of arrogance out there within all realms. Yes, the spiritual community has a lot of difficulties. And eventually that will be healed, but we as beings are warning from those that feel like they know everything. We want to see how far they'll go with it before we shut them down. Because they're going through their journey too. They can always change their ways. And this is why some in your spiritual communities can be corrupted, but some of them are doing good things at the same time. That's why they don't get shut down. It's, yes, the corruption, narcissism. There's a lot of narcissism out there. But it's those that they are helping when they're not really trying to help that person, but they are getting help in some ways. They're finding their guidance, their direction. So that's why some of these major spiritual groups stay